Yes, Geordies, welcome back to another episode. And where do I start? I've just been mid-video. I was making a video. I had a lovely video. I was having the time of my life making this video, but my phone started going absolutely berserk. Just one message after another. And I thought, I'm going to have to pause this video because something has happened. So I checked my phone and you best believe it. Something has happened because Newcastle United have pulled out the race for Hugo Ekitike. Now it gives Liverpool a straight line in signing that Frankfurt forward. So it looks like Hugo Ekitike is going to Liverpool. And the good news is, looks like Newcastle United are going to be keeping Alexander Isak. So I've completely scrapped up that video I was doing. Honestly, I was having a lovely time. And then this has just come out. So I thought I'm going to have to put that other video on hold and make a new one. So I have done that. And in this video, we're going to be looking at Hugo Ekitike's deal is off and what this means. And also Alexander Isak staying and what that means. We're going to also look at Newcastle's 160 million prize that they got from the Premier League last season. Now where do we turn? Do we turn to Benjamin Šeško or do we turn to Samu Aghehowa? But before I give you my thoughts, I want to know your thoughts. What do you make of this whole situation? Are you happy Alexander Isak is staying or did you prefer Hugo Ekitike? Let me know in the comments below. And in fact, I was actually waiting until we knew what happened with Hugo Ekitike, Alexander Isak, where they would be playing next season so I could do a striker video. So I am going to be doing more striker videos. We're going to be looking at alternatives to Hugo Ekitike, but we're also going to be looking at strikers that could complement Alexander Isak in a 4-4-2 system, and I can't wait for that. So if you've got any suggestions that you want to comment in the below, please do, because I will include them in the videos. But where do Newcastle turn to next? And the first point I want to make is this is great news for Newcastle United. Yes, we're losing out on yet another target, but we're keeping Alexander Isak. That is fantastic news because he's a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. If you give me the option of signing Hugo Ekitike or Alexander Isak right now, it's keeping Alexander Isak. And I'll tell you why, because for 2 seasons now, he's been a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. I've got no doubt Hugo Ekitike is going to score goals in the Premier League. Now, he scored 22 goals in all competitions last season, so he's shown that he has that capability of scoring goals. He's provided 64 goals and assists in 80 starts in his senior career. He's that nice blend of creativity and goal-scoring instincts. Liverpool are getting themselves one hell of a player. I've got no doubt about that. And he's going to be playing with better players around him, which will just elevate his game. So naturally, on paper, you would think that he's going to score more goals. Now, football doesn't always work out like that. Every single signing is a risk. Every player that reaches this level has ability. If you look at any player across the Premier League, they can all play football. There's no bad player that reaches this level. It's all about the environment. Now, Liverpool are very good with their environment, quite like Newcastle, where they don't upset the squad dynamics. And I kind of feel like Hugo Ekitike, if I'm being honest, is going to settle in quite well at Liverpool, and I think it's a good signing for them. I would still prefer to keep Alexander Isak because he already thrives in our system. He's already comfortable in Newcastle. He's already comfortable with our squad. So in terms of squad dynamics and for him to really thrive in a system, he's already got that around him. So why would you want to leave that? Now, he's also adored by the fan base, and he knows that. He knows that whatever he does, he can't really do no wrong. If he misses a chance, we know not to get on his back because he will put away the next one. And that's the type of relationship a striker needs with their fan base. So he's in an environment where it gets the best out of him, but also he's getting the best out of the fans as well by providing those goals. So it kind of suits both parties here. So what's next? Does this mean that Alexander Isak is going to spend the rest of his career at Newcastle United? Probably not. And that's me being brutally honest, because what I'm warning you now, all we're going to hear next season is how Alexander Isak is going to go to Barcelona, because I've got no doubt they're going to be wanting a striker very soon, because Lewandowski isn't getting any younger and they're going to need to replace him. Now, Alexander Isak seems like a lovely fit for Barcelona, an agile forward, somebody that can get on the ball, somebody that can create as well as score, somebody that can go on a mazy dribble and take 3 or 4 players out of the game. That is Alexander Isak. He's such a well-rounded striker that every football club in the world would love to have Alexander Isak. But you want to know the beauty? We've got him. Not Liverpool. We have Alexander Isak. So what now for Newcastle United? Firstly, get Alexander Isak tied onto a new contract. Now, he's in a stronger position here because although Liverpool are signing Hugo Ekitike, we've shown our colours in how much we value Alexander Isak. So what he's going to say to our negotiations, he's going to say that Well, you value me at 150 million and you see me as an important member of this squad. In fact, probably one of the top 2 most important members of the squad, because scoring wins you games of football. Now, he can say he can offer that, but he can also say, if you're valuing me at 200 million, 150 million maybe, I want paid based on my valuation. And do you know what? Newcastle United, without going over the top, let's give them that new contract, because what that does is ties you down nicely and puts you in pole position in any negotiations with clubs next summer, because I've got no doubt the media are going to spark rumours in Alexander Isak to Barcelona. And once somebody lights that little candle, turns into a flame, because every other media outlet bounces off it. So that is exactly what's going to happen. But it's up to Newcastle United now to show Isak how ambitious we are. Go out and make a statement signing. We've shown our colours that we have money to spend, because we popped down 70 million for Hugo Ekitike that got rejected. So there's no doubt there's money in that kitty to spend. Now it's time to show Alexander Isak exactly how ambitious we are. Build a promising squad that makes Alexander Isak want to stay. So if you were to ask me, how do I feel about this piece of news? And I was to give you an honest answer, I would have loved to have Hugo Ekitike at our club, because it means if we did get a ridiculous bid for Alexander Isak, we've got a succession plan in place. I would love that. Future planning is one of the best and most important things in football. I would absolutely love that. But on the other side, on the flip side of that, if you give me an option out Alexander Isak or Hugo Ekitike, it's Alexander Isak all day and twice on a Sunday, because he's proven. Now, I've got a feeling that we're going to be linked to Nicholas Jackson and Darwin Núñez over the next couple of days. Could be wrong, but I think the media are going to put 2 to 2 together. So I'm sitting here thinking, in my last thoughts on these Hugo Ekitike, Alexander Isak, Liverpool trying, and I'm not saying the word trying, to bully Newcastle United. Do you know what I was talking about yesterday about keeping good relationships? I'm telling you right now, Liverpool have just broken their relationship with Newcastle United, because tried to give Newcastle United an ultimatum. Now, I believe it was more of Newcastle United pulling out the deal rather than Hugo Ekitike choosing Liverpool. And I think Hugo Ekitike has no choice but to choose Liverpool now, because I kind of think Newcastle sat there and thought, right, if Liverpool are really going to play this, why don't we just pull out, keep Alexander Isak, because we have what we want right in front of us. Now we can end our negotiations with Alexander Isak and show him our intent that he is our number 1 striker. And that's what I generally believe. I believe that Newcastle pulled out the deal more than anything. I mean, I could be wrong, but I want to know your thoughts about that. But Liverpool have definitely broken their relationship with Newcastle United. And personally, I don't want us to do any favours for Liverpool moving forward. Now, we did receive some good news come out yesterday, because Newcastle United secure a huge 160.2 million boosters Premier League make transfer claim. What they're saying is Newcastle United make a stronger financial position to strengthen the summer with help from increase in television and prize money. So that 160.2 million is a combination of television money, broadcasting money from last season, but also our position were finished in last season. So it's a combination of them both. So I actually think we get a lot of TV rights because we fill out our stadium. I actually think our fans play a major part in us being on TV quite often, because that's what TV viewers want. They want the atmosphere, they want full stadiums. And that's exactly what Newcastle United give them. So I think our fans need to be proud of how they show up for the team every single season. And that puts you on TV a lot more than if they didn't show up. So then, as I was preparing this video, got us thinking, we've shown our hand that we want a striker. We've shown our hand that we've got 70 million to spend. So that got us thinking, what strikers could we be interested in? What strikers could we bring to St. James's Park? Now, I've thought about it and I thought, should I look for Hugo Ekitike exact type of profiles, or should I just go with players that fans will know about and probably want to hear about? And I thought the latter. So the first person we're going to look at is Benjamin Šeško. We're going to be looking at his profile. We're going to compare him to Alexander Isak, compare him to Hugo Ekitike, and see exactly what he would bring if we were to prize him out of RB Leipzig. So just before we get into breaking down Šeško, I want to let you know that I'm calm about the situation. I'm very, very calm, because there's plenty of strikers out there that would complement Alexander Isak in a 4-4-2 system, or we could bring in to rotate with Alexander Isak if he wants to keep that 4-3-3 system. So there's plenty of options out there. So I'm calm about the situation. I trust Eddie. Eddie and the board have given us no reasons not to trust them, because every signing that's walked through the door, bar 1 or 2, has been a success. So let's start with Benjamin Šeško. He scored 13 Bundesliga goals last season. Now, RB Leipzig had a shocker last season, failed to qualify for any European football, and that's another reason and an incentive why Benjamin Šeško could possibly want to join Newcastle United, because we can offer him Champions League football. RB Leipzig can't even offer him European football. What would he bring? What type of striker is he? Well, he's got a nice blend of physicality, agility, directness, and a nice finesse, especially inside the box. So when it comes to Benjamin Šeško, it's all about his clinical finishing. He's a scorer of all types of goals. That includes first-time finishes, finesse finishes. He's got a wonderful ball strike on him. He's also deceptively very good in the air. He's got a wonderful athletic build on him that allows him to out-jump defenders. So he's really powerful in the air, and he's got this unique ability to be powerful despite being lean. So he's got all the tools in the locker for clinical and innovative finishes. He also converts a lot of his chances. He's got a high rate of few touches, needing no backlift to get his shots off. I spoke about the importance of that, being able to get your shots off with little next to no backlift. And that's the first thing I look for in a striker, because those snapshots can be the difference between getting him to the ball before your man or catching the goalkeeper by surprise. And Benjamin Šeško has that in the locker. He's finishing, right? I'm not saying he's as good, but he's finishing kind of reminds us of Erling Haaland's. That ball striking ability, he's got that about him. Now, what I also like about him is his movement. So intelligent with his movement. His box instincts are exceptional. He's very good at getting on the blind side of defenders, and I think that's a crucial thing to scoring goals. And Benjamin Šeško is so intelligent. He's so sharp with his movement. Even outside the box, he's got good movement. He actually holds good pace as well. So that allows him to play on the last man, get him behind from the shoulders of defenders. And that allows him to stretch defenses, which creates more space for his teammates. So he's got that ability where he can run in behind. He's not a striker that will go out wide like Alexander Isak does and receive the ball and take on 5 players. He's not that type of striker. He normally stays centrally and uses the inside channels. That's where he does differ from Alexander Isak, but he can lead transitions. He's quite good at ball carrying, not as good as Alexander Isak, but he can definitely lead transitions. Now, where he does need to improve is his hold up and his lingo play, his footwork in tight spaces, but he's also not very creative. And what I mean by creative, he hasn't got those natural instincts to break down low blocks. He's the kind of guy that wants to finish the opportunity, not start the opportunity. So what if we looked at a direct comparison to Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike? So when it comes to Alexander Isak and comparing the two, Šeško offers more of a traditional profile. Newcastle would have to be a little bit more direct, less fluid in rotation and in the front line, because Šeško likes to occupy the central areas. And rather than leading transitions through mazy dribbles, he's more direct and a lot more powerful in his running stride than what Alexander Isak is. Whereas Alexander Isak, you know what he has to offer. He's pretty much the complete profile. He offers more of an elegance to his game though. He's an elite ball carrier. He can drift wide, rotate with teammates, link up play, but he does offer more creativity than what Šeško does. Now, it would be quite compelling when you play them as a duo, because you could have Alexander Isak running off Šeško, but I actually think their attributes and styles would complement one another. So what's he like in comparison to Hugo Ekitike? Well, again, he's a different type of striker to Hugo Ekitike. It wouldn't be a direct replacement if we were to bring Šeško in instead of Hugo Ekitike. Again, he offers more of a traditional profile. Newcastle would have to be a little bit more direct, less fluid in their rotation, but he's more of an efficient goal scorer, whereas Hugo Ekitike offers more of a creative touch. He has the ability to beat defenses with intelligent movement and link-up play. Ekitike is better in fluid systems, drifting wide and creating space. Now, the easiest way I can compare the two, Šeško is more of an efficient finisher and Hugo Ekitike offers more of a dynamic creator. I bet I know what you're thinking right now. What do the statistics show? Don't worry, guys, I've got yours. Here's how he compares to Hugo Ekitike. And as you can see, Hugo Ekitike's profile is a lot more well-rounded. He's got that blend of creativity and goal-scoring instincts. So Šeško is not a direct comparison or a direct profile to Hugo Ekitike. He offers you something more different. Šeško is somebody that'll have less touches of the ball, but he'll touch a ball in more efficient areas. But as you can see, you're not going to get similar creative output from the two. But what you are going to get from Šeško is when he does receive the ball to a feet, he's extremely direct. So how does he compare to Alexander Isak? And this is what the statistics show. And as you can see, Alexander Isak is extremely well-rounded. And again, the stats aren't too dissimilar from what Hugo Ekitike and Benjamin Šeško were, because the two different types of profiles of strikers, but the two profiles that could actually work well and link up well together. Because Šeško could occupy those central areas, have less touches of the ball, but also bring you that presence inside the penalty area. So you're always going to have that option to put the ball in the penalty area. And that would allow Alexander Isak to roam around that final third, creating space for himself, creating space for teammates, drifting wide, getting on the ball, creating for Benjamin Šeško. So I actually think the profiles could complement each other. So I want to propose this question to you guys. Instead of Hugo Ekitike, would Benjamin Šeško be your number one choice? Drop your comments in the below, because we've got another player to look at, and that is Samu. Now, I have been reluctant to look at Samu, and that's not because of ability or his ceiling or his goal scoring finesse. It's about Atletico used to own half of them, and Porto owned half of them. Now, it's difficult to negotiate with one club, never mind two. But this summer, Porto have just bought out the full rights to Samu, so they own him 100%. So it's going to be a lot easier to prize Samu out of that deal, negotiating with one club rather than two clubs. So what type of striker is he? Well, he's raw but physical. He's got underrated intelligent movement whilst being powerful and dynamic. He's a nice combination of a target man but a mobile forward, because he will run the channels for you. Now, one of his biggest assets is his clinical finishing. He's so decisive in the box. He's aggressive. He attacks a ball with strength. He's a strong finisher with both feet and his head, and his frame makes him dominant from crosses. You could consider him a poacher, considering he's clinical in front of goal. But one of my favorite things about Samu is his shot volume. He averages 3 shots per game, and most of his attempts come inside the box. In fact, all of his goals for Porto have come inside the box with a nice variety. He scored just as much with his left foot as he has with his right foot, but he also offers that aerial presence inside the box. One of my favorite things about Samu is how aggressive he is inside the penalty box. He does not care who's in front of him. We've seen that against Man United with these 2-headed goals last season, where he just absolutely towered above everybody. Stands at 6'4". He's athletic. He's got a good burst of speed for his size. He's strong. He's powerful, and he does cause defenders problems. If I was a defender, his profile is exactly what would give me nightmares. His movement's good. He's got exceptional box instincts. He attacks space very well. He's effective on counter-attacks, and he uses sharp bursts into space while being powerful. That is a frightening combination for any defender. I don't care who you are. So how's he compared to Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike? Well, let's look at Alexander Isak first. Again, he offers more of a traditional profile. Physical, direct. He's not as sharp or comfortable as Alexander Isak in possession. His actions would be more quick bursts over short distances, whereas Alexander Isak can get on the ball and hold on to the ball for a couple of minutes, whereas Samu's more of a, let's get the ball, let's just burst into space. So again, Alexander Isak offers that more elegant touch, that more elite ball carrying style, drifts wide, whereas Samu doesn't have that ability. But if there's space available, Samu will absolutely exploit it, and he does it with pace and power. And I'll say this about Samu again, it would be quite compelling seeing him and Alexander Isak together, because they both offer different things. So when we're looking to break down a low block, Alexander Isak would have more license to do that, because Samu can occupy the space in the penalty box. So Alexander Isak hasn't got to think in his head, I need to be inside the penalty box. I cannot be outside the penalty box because I'm our goal scorer. Now he's got Samu, who can act as a poacher inside the box, would give Alexander Isak more freedom to do whatever he wants to do. So naturally, his touches per 90 would probably increase with somebody like Samu next to him. So how does he compare to Hugo Ekitike? Well, he offers more of a box predator profile. He provides explosive movement inside and outside the box. He's more of a decisive finisher than what Hugo Ekitike is. Ekitike offers more of a dynamic creator. He has the ability to beat defenders with intelligent movement and link up play, just as I said last time. So he's better suited to fluid systems, rotating with these wingers, things like that. Again, I know what you guys are thinking. How does he compare statistically, so we can see it from a visual point of view, to Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike? Don't worry, guys. I got yous. Here he is compared to Hugo Ekitike. And as you can see, Hugo Ekitike gives you a lot in possession, whereas Samu is a lot more efficient in possession. What I mean by efficient is just give and goes, little flick-ons, layoffs. That's why he has a high completion rate, because he keeps it simple. He wants to move the ball on as quickly as possible. But look at these non-penalty goals. He offers you that box presence inside the box. Again, one of my favorite things about Samu is, let's say he receives a ball to feet. He'll lay it off out wide, and his first instinct is, can I get in between the posts? Can I get in that penalty area? Because that is where I'm going to score goals. That's what you want from your striker. Without his movement in that penalty area, you're probably not going to score goals. So that's one of my favorite things about him. The second favorite thing is how quickly and how much he shoots per 90. I want my striker to have as many shots as possible per 90. Now, I understand he's doing it in the Portuguese league, but when you watch him play, you know he's got that hunger to score goals. So just finally, how's he compared to Alexander Isak? And as you can see, it's similar viewing to what Hugo Ekitike is, but again, he scores more non-penalty goals. Again, he's playing in the Portuguese league. In the Premier League, he might not have as many or as good opportunities, but I've got no doubt he can bully some defenders in the Premier League. But if you were to just look at the pass completion rate for both Hugo Ekitike and Alexander Isak, and Samu actually completes more passes percentage per 90 than both of them. And that's because, as I mentioned earlier, he's a little bit more simple with his passing. He doesn't take as many risks is what Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike is. So Samu's game is all about laying it off and then getting in behind. And then once you've got a 6'4" athletic physical beast running at you, that's frightening for defenders. So I'm going to propose a question to you guys again. Would you welcome somebody like Samu to St. James's Park as an alternative to Hugo Ekitike, despite him being a different profile? Let me know in the comments. But I just wanted to quickly make this video because I wanted to give you my thoughts on the Hugo Ekitike situation. And you know what? I'm not worried. I'm really not worried because we definitely have money to spend. There's plenty of strikers out there. But again, guys, I want to hear your thoughts. Is there any strikers out there that you want me to look at? Or would you like me to dive a little bit more deeper into Šeško and Samu and look at things like shot locations, where they look to place their shots, and just diving into stats a little bit more deeper? Let me know in the comments below, because I want you to run this channel as much as I run it. So whatever you tell me to do, I'll do it as quick as I can. So let me know in the comments below what episode you want to see next. Do you want to see some random strikers, or do you want to see some specific strikers? Let me know in the comments. But if you've enjoyed this video, again, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Don't worry, guys. Just relax. Until next time, away the lads.